I played Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion early on the Nintendo Switch 2, and let me tell you, this game goes freaking hard. Now, I was already interested in this game. I already had it on pre-order because I was a fan of the first game, and everything I saw in the trailers for Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion looked like it improved on the original Daemon X Machina in every way possible. But they launched a demo that we are able to try and play on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I hopped in, played the entire demo, and good lord, I'm gonna love this game. I already love this game. This game is so good. So let's start with performance, because that is what a lot of people are going to be wondering. This game is multi-platform. We want to know how it's going to look on the Nintendo Switch 2. And I can say that the cutscenes are definitely 60 frames per second. They look great. They run great. Everything's cool. Now, gameplay is where things get a little fuzzy. I don't know what frames per second this is actually running at. The game looks fantastic. Everything runs pretty smoothly. I just can't tell if it's maintaining. I don't think it's maintaining 60 frames per second that whole time, but it definitely is smooth. Like, there's the occasional stutter or hiccup in the frames, but it's pretty few and far between, and it's not very long, so it doesn't really hinder gameplay. But yeah, I don't think it's maintaining that 60 frames. It's probably in the 45 to 60 frame range, but like, man, is this game smooth. The other thing I briefly wanted to mention about performance is I did try this game in handheld mode as well, and it definitely seems like the game is either running just as good, if not better, in handheld mode. So that's a huge plus right there. Now, the game sets you in the role of what is called an outer, a person who is not quite human, who are pretty much discriminated against by the humans, and this is a prisoner that is breaking free from a corrupt empire who makes his way to the surface of the planet and joins up with a band of misfit freedom fighters called the Reclaimers. And the story is voice acted, and it's done quite well. Honestly, it's very anime how this whole story plays out, and it feels appropriate. I really like how the story's progressing so far, and you play quite a bit of the introduction of the game in the demo itself, and I enjoyed every moment of it. I was having a good time. There's characters that you like, there's characters that you dislike. It's really well done. But the first thing that I noticed immediately as someone who played the original game is they've swapped out the giant mech suits for these more like exosuit style mechs that honestly there's no other word to describe them other than badass. These are just cool. They're just really awesome, and it makes you feel much faster than you were in the last Daemon X Machina. Maybe it's because you were just so big and giant in the last game, but I feel like I'm moving around quicker and I'm doing more stuff just at a quicker pace in this particular game, and I really vibe with that. I liked the original game, but this again just seems to be an improvement as far as the actual exosuit versus mech that you controlled in the previous game. Now, the combat in this game is fast-paced and hectic, and I absolutely love it. It feels good, it feels tight, it feels fun, and there's always something going on. It's just really satisfying, the combat in this game. And you can freely swap between weapons that you have equipped. You can have 4 weapons equipped, main weapons, those being guns or melee weapons, and you can swap between them, but you also have shoulder weapons or shoulder accessories that can do things like heal you, which just adds to the customization of combat and how combat is actually going to play out. And it allows you to change up your strategy mid-battle. Maybe you're not doing enough damage up close, so you want to get back, heal up a little bit, and then take some shots from afar. You can swap between those weapons effectively, changing how the course of the battle is going, and I like that aspect a lot. Now, this game has an open world structure, which I really wasn't anticipating, but because you join this group of the Reclaimers, you become a fighter in the Coliseum as well as a mercenary. So you're taking on missions in this open world for this group of freedom fighters, and you go out and there's side missions that you take out enemy groups, you come back, you turn it in, you get rewards, that kind of thing. And the story progresses you through this open world area, which is definitely a change of pace from the last Daemon X Machina game, and I really like the open world. There's so much happening. There's these enemies, these like monster type animals that are out there called immortals, and these are going to be all over the place that you can battle. There's enemy faction called, I believe it was the Axiom, that are in this game, and they'll find you and battle you in their mech suits. And all the while you're out there, you're collecting resources like currency as well as parts that you can use to manufacture more upgrades and items for your mech, which is just, gosh, there's just a lot going on in this open world, and I really like how much it kind of rewards exploration. Like, I just found this random cave while I was playing, and I ventured down. There were some enemies to fight in there, and I found a bunch of other parts for my exosuit, which was just really fun. It was like, oh, I should definitely be checking out these random caverns and caves that I'm coming across because there's good resources in here that are giving me upgrades. So I really liked that this game really incentivized exploration on top of just having fun combat with enemies to run into in the open world. And what I'd argue is one of the more interesting parts of this game is that there is a loot system, but it's a little different from how you're used to in other games. Now, when you defeat an enemy, you can walk up to them and press Y and actually loot them. And the cool thing about it is they have multiple items on them. You can look through the different stuff that's laying on the body. However, the caveat is you can only pick one of these items, giving you a real sense of choice, a real important decision each time you loot an enemy. And I kind of like this because it makes you really sit there and think about what you're choosing to pick up on an enemy. I really like this component because it makes each time you loot feel important, even if it wasn't necessarily something that gave you an upgrade or something that was super vital to you. It feels important because you're like, oh, I could sell this more than this. I don't need anything here, but this item's more, you know, valuable because I can do the XYZ with it. Like that kind of thing feels really good with the loot system. There's also these big boss enemies that you'll encounter along the way, whether it be giant mechs, or in the demo you could also fight this giant immortal, and these are really fun fights and very challenging. If you get hit, you're taking a ton of damage. So I liked the fact that there are these just kind of scattered throughout while you're exploring the open world. It's not like these were instance based, they're just there, and I like that component to this game. Now, let me just say, if you're a mech game enjoyer, this game has everything you're looking for. It has the nitty-gritty details, getting down into this part makes this thing better, and this part increases this stat, so I get XYZ out of my mech. That is totally in this game, and I love it. First and foremost, you can change out all the different arsenal parts. The mechs are called arsenals in this game, just so you're aware, but each have their own stats and impact how your arsenal controls and plays. For example, if you throw on a heavy piece of leg equipment, yes, you might have more HP, but your movement speed might be slowed. It's all of these different minute details that you're altering in the gameplay that's changing how your mech or your arsenal is actually controlling, and I think that is just super fun. I really like the min-maxing aspect of getting exactly what you want out of your arsenal. On top of this, like we talked about earlier, the weapons can be fully customized, changed out. You can do melee weapons, you can do ranged weapons, things of all that nature, changing up how your combat is going to feel. And there's also passives that you can add to armors. They all have these little like square passive slots, and these can add additional bonuses like decreasing the weight of your arsenal, allowing you to move more quickly. It can change how much damage you're doing with a certain weapon type. All of these different things can be added to change up how your arsenal is going to feel. And the best part about this is if you have a couple different ways that you like to play, like for example, maybe you have a heavy loadout that you're like, I'm taking a ton of damage and I'm just getting in there and doing work. That's totally cool because there's loadouts. You can save it, and then you're like, maybe I want to be a little more speedy. I want to just zip around the enemies and do a bunch of damage from afar, hit them with a machine gun, and kind of move really fast. You can just have another loadout, and you can swap between them at any point that you're interested in. So that way you can just be like, okay, now I'm doing this on this mission, but now I'm going on to another mission. Let me swap my loadout, change how my arsenal plays, and I get a totally different gameplay experience. And that feels incredibly fun. Now, obviously, there's also shops and stuff that you can buy equipment at, but there's also a forge that you can build armor at from recipes you gather from enemies that you've taken out in the field. This is a really fun mechanic. Honestly, I built more armor than I bought because it seemed like the stuff I could build was way better than the stuff I could buy. So it's definitely worth taking out the random immortal enemy packs that you find out in the open world because they drop those recipes, allowing you to find better and better equipment for your arsenal. And as I progressed through the game, I found there was an even deeper layer of customization for your character, not just your arsenal, your character, where as you defeated certain enemies, you would gain resources from them, allowing you to cause this sort of fusion mutation thing where you would get some sort of physical mutation, like my eyes started glowing on my character, but it also unlocked new skills and passives. So I got this new attack where I could jump up in the air and slam my melee weapon down, or I got this passive that automatically dodged incoming attacks, which was pretty cool. So there's a lot of different variables that as you continue playing, you're going to unlock more and more to really cater this experience to exactly what you're looking to get out of it. So after playing this demo, good lord, I'm in. I already, like I said, had this game on pre-order. I was picking this game up day one because it's fully on the cartridge, by the way. It's not a game key card, so that's something to keep in mind. But I liked the original game, and like I said, this game looked like it improved upon everything the first game did, and it totally does. This game is definitely going to be one that I sink tons of hours into. I am invested. I'm here. I loved what I played so far, and I genuinely cannot wait till September 5th to play more of this game. It just felt good. The open world was fun to explore. There were so many different resources and items I could collect while I was exploring. The little missions were fun. They gave you tasks to do while you were out running around taking on enemies. I enjoyed that aspect. The story seems really interesting, actually, where I wasn't super sold on the story in the first game. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. This game, I'm following. I'm enjoying the story. It's voice acted super well. The characters are enjoyable. I'm here for it. It just is so good what I played. And as someone who did like the first game but felt a little disappointed by it, I am feeling really, really good about this particular game. I am really happy with the changes that they made, and I can't wait. This game is freaking sweet. I genuinely am going to be putting a ton of time into it. One other thing I want to briefly touch on real quick, because I forgot to bring it up, is there is multiplayer. You can have multiplayer lobbies that you can hop in and out of, and you can go out on these missions with friends in the open world. That seems really cool. There was nobody playing the demo at the time that I was playing, so I don't really know if there was a ton of people on at the same time or how it all worked in the particular demo. But yeah, it's cool that it's there, and I'm excited. Let me look up. I want to know if this is crossplay. It does say that the game is crossplay between Nintendo Switch 2 and other platforms. That's what Google's saying. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's really cool if that is accurate. So yeah, there is that multiplayer component. But yeah, everything I played in this game was just super exciting. As someone who was already hyped for this game, this really took my hype level from like, I'm excited to like way out of this world. I am beyond ready to hop in and continue playing this game. And if you're interested in the demo, it is worth noting that the demo save actually transfers into the full game. So you can start playing the demo, start earning some stuff, start seeing what the story's all about, and then move that over into the full game when you decide to pick it up later down the road. Definitely worth it in my opinion. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. I had to gush a little bit. I'm genuinely so over the moon and surprised with how good this game is on the Switch 2. I didn't know what to expect going into it, but man, ooh, I'm excited. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, because it helps me out, helps the video out, helps the channel out immensely. Let me know if you're going to pick this game up or if you're excited for this particular game like myself. But until next time, peace.